Right, how to read setting out drawings. A few people have asked me once again, so I'm going to try my best to do a few videos and show you how to read some drawings. It's not the easiest thing to show on here, but I'm going to do my best. So, first thing first, this is a levels drawing. This is what you will use to set out your levels for your driveways, your paths, your plot. But in this example, I'm going to just go with a driveway because it's nice and simple. So first things first is, if you're looking at a drawing, you need to work out where you are in relation to that drawing. That's the most basic step to any drawing, is where am I working, what do I need to be looking at? So the easiest way to do that is, you can see the houses on the drawing. The houses have also got the plot numbers on them. So you've got to figure out from that whereabouts you are in relation to that drawing. Then once you've done that, you need to find where your work area is, what driveway you're going to be working in. And for this video, I'm going to say we're working on this driveway here. So you can see you've got the lines which mark the edges of your driveway. You've also got ones for your paths and your patios. Now, once you've found them, you will see all these numbers dotted around everywhere, and you're probably looking at them thinking it looks like hieroglyphs, but I promise you it's not complicated. So this corner up here, 110.57, that means that corner where that dot is, the finished level. So once that driveway is finished, once it's been tarmacked or block paved, or the top of the edging, that level is going to be 110 metres, 570 millimetres above sea level. Now, the sea level bit doesn't really matter for this video, but that's what it means. So once you know that, you think, okay, so how do I work that out? Now, you need a level to start from. So you're going to need to get your laser level. I've just done a video talking about laser levels for the purpose of this video, actually. You're going to need to get your laser level, and you need to set up on a thing called a datum, which, just think of that as a starting point. So you need a level to start from, which you can then calculate the difference to get you to these levels. Now, what I'm going to do for the purpose of this video is assume that these plots have been built and you're now doing driveways, okay? If they hadn't been built, the engineer would be along and they'd give you a level, a datum level, which you could set up from, and then from that you'd be calculating these floor levels. But for the purpose of this, we're going to say these houses are in. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at, on this drawing, you can see each house says FFL with a number, FFL with a number, FFL with a number. Now what I do is, you're going to pick the number that's the easiest to calculate from, the most round number. So you've got 1110,800, 1110,750. 1110,800 is a nice round number, nice whole number to calculate from. So FFL is finished floor level, okay? Finished floor level is usually your DPC level, but you can't always take that for granted. It's your finished floor level, so it's basically the floor of the house, or normally it's the top of the splash course. Again, there's some caveats for that, but it's the finished floor. So what you're going to do is you're going to use that as your datum. Now you've got to be careful, because the houses might not always be right. A couple of ways you can check that is, you can check it off a datum, like I said earlier, or you can work out the difference between a house next to it and check that the difference is correct to the drawing. So for example, this is 110,800, that one is 110,750. So the difference in finished floor level between those two is 50 mil, 750 to 800. So what you could do is you could set up on either one of them and then check it to the one next to it. And if it's 50 mil higher or lower, depending on which one you start with, then you know them houses are likely to be right. You've got to be careful with this, but this is just to demonstrate how it works. So then what you do is, right, I want to work out this corner here. So all you're going to do is you're going to set your laser level up, your staff up, on the finished floor level of this plot. So 1110,800, and I would type that in the calculator if you're not very good at doing maths in your head. Just type in 1110,800. You don't have to put the dot if you don't want to. And minus 1110,570. And then the difference, 230 mil. That is how much lower that point is there to that finished floor level. So you'll put your pin in, which if you might be setting out yourself, or an engineer's there. If an engineer's there, is going to give you the levels. But let's say you're setting out yourself, you put a pin in. You're going to then put a level in, a bit of tape, 230 mil below the finished floor level of that. And then that's it. And then once you've got that level, you can either use that level to then work that next level out, again by minusing that from that, and what it'll give you the difference. But you've got to be careful doing that, because you can end up compounding small differences and be well out. I recommend, if you're doing a small driveway, do it that way, work that one out, then you can work that one out from that one. If you're doing a lot of setting out, go back to your datum. At least every like 5 pins or 10 pins or something like that, because someone might knock your pin or something like that. So that's the basics. I don't really think there's much more I can say on it with this little drawing. Again, it's quite hard to show, but hopefully that gets your head around it a little bit.